Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to the today's RER Rental Equipment Register webcast. Our topic is how AI, or artificial intelligence, will revolutionize the rental industry. To begin, let me explain just a couple of things here. You can actually participate in the webinar. If you have any technical difficulties during the session, simply type your issue or what your problem is into the Ask a Question box, and a member of our team will assist you. You can also click on the question mark Help button in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. We also want to encourage your questions during today's event. We'll answer as many questions as possible during the Q&A session that'll follow the main presentation. So feel free to send in your questions at any time. To do so, just type your questions into the Ask a Question box and click on the Send button. So we encourage your questions. Be aware that today's session is being recorded. It'll be available on RER's website within the next week. You'll be notified by email when the archive is available. So let me introduce to you today's presenter. It's Adam Croft. He's the head of product management for Texada Software. He'll be joining us today to discuss the impact that artificial intelligence will have on the rental industry. With that, let me turn things over to our presenter, Adam. So Adam, take it away.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. I'm excited to be here and talk about artificial intelligence and the heavy equipment rental space. Like Michael said, there's definitely going to be some time for questions and answers, and I'm going to go fairly quickly through the content. There's lots to talk about. I'm pretty excited. So we're going to jump right in. We just did our little welcome here. We're going to talk about our intro to artificial intelligence, and then we're going to talk about how it's going to impact the heavy equipment rental industry, and then what Texada is doing to apply this today, and then we're going to wrap up with how you can use AI today and some Q&A. So with that, we're going to jump right in. So Michael already introduced us here, so we'll keep going. Michael's the editor for the RER, and he's going to be moderating the Q&A section at the end. A little bit about Texada here. We've been doing rental software since 1984. Over the last couple of years, we've added sales and service capabilities to our platform as well, serving hundreds of customers all over the world, including some of the biggest rental and heavy equipment companies in the world. So hopefully you're able to learn some pieces about us and about the products and about how you'll be able to apply AI in your daily life. So we're going to launch a poll here. I really want to kind of understand the audience, who's with us, and how frequently you use AI tools today. And I'll be talking about some examples where you may not realize you're actually already using AI. So we will just give it a minute here for everybody to fill in some answers. And we got lots of answers coming in here. So the most popular answers are rarely and never. So we've got some in regularly and sometimes, but rarely and never is the majority of the group. So I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited that you're going to be learning with us about some of the ways that you will be able to apply it to your business or apply it to your daily life. I know I find myself using it more and more every day. So just to make sure that we're kind of all speaking the same language here, what is AI? So AI, as Michael mentioned, is also referred to as artificial intelligence. And there's been versions of this that have been around for a very long time. So most common one that people think of is Siri or Alexa, where you can talk to it and it'll give you answers back. You can recognize what you're talking about and it can respond to you. Also on your cell phone, you do things like predictive text as you're typing. You know, the words pop up above the top. If you click one of those words, that is actual artificial intelligence that's trying to predict what you're talking about and recommend a word for you. Google Maps or Waze, they use artificial intelligence to process where you're going to both give you the best route and also take in things like what's the current traffic, what's eco-efficiency, and can you avoid tolls? So there's lots of things happening in the background there that you may not be aware of, but I'm sure many people use navigation on a daily basis. Also, Amazon, Spotify, they're pretty famous for their recommendations. So, hey, you listen to this song, you probably also like this other artist, and really helps curate the experience to be a little bit more personalized to you as you go through there as well. And the last one that's pretty popular as well is the ability to like take a picture of something and scan a receipt, maybe for expenses, maybe for some cashback apps, or there's some food apps and fitness apps where you can take a picture of your meal and it says, okay, this is chicken and broccoli and rice, and it has this many calories, and this is your macros. So those are just some of the ways that it's kind of appearing in your daily life already today. So those things that I kind of talked about have been around for a while, but I would say over the last 8 months, there's been a lot more conversation about artificial intelligence than ever before. And the biggest driver of this is ChatGPT, and it's by a company called OpenAI. And the big change between, okay, I'm navigating on the GPS, I've told it where I'm going by typing in an address, and it does the rest. There's not a lot of interaction. There's not a lot of back and forth. When you look at something like ChatGPT, it's very conversational. You can actually speak to it like you would as a human. And what this enables you to do is it makes it available to many more people, not just programmers who have to do all the work in the background. Everybody has access to this today, and we'll be talking more about that as well. And it also has the ability to take a lot more information and make better decisions and recommendations than typical apps have in the past. All right, so really the bulk of our conversation today is going to be around how will AI impact the heavy equipment rental space. So let's put on our creativity hats here and think about, what are some problems that we face every day in our rental operations? How could potentially some AI help us? So here's a picture of a mechanic, and there's a robot who's there to help him out with his daily work. So what if work orders and tickets were automatically prioritized for your team by urgency? So it could be things like, these are VIP customers, or hey, this piece of equipment needs to be serviced because it needs to go on a rental tomorrow. What if AI could recommend that for you? Or what if your sales reps were given, relevant information about what's on a rental quote or a sales quote, and recommended, hey, customers like this, based on the type of job they're doing, the type of customer they are, they could really also use this additional, product with it. I like to call it, you want the fries with that, but on steroids, because it's not just always fries, it's, personalized recommendations, much like what Amazon does today. What if your rental rates were automatically adjusted based on the time of year you are? Obviously you're not going to be getting a lot of money for some heat equipment if you're in a warmer climate, or if you're in the summertime of a colder climate. But in the wintertime, as your utilization gets up over 80, 90%, what if it automatically adjusted those rates for any new bookings so you can maximize your opportunity? And then when it's in the slower times, or you're like shoulder seasons, you actually reduce it a little bit to make sure you get maximum fleet utilization. What if your service managers, they're looking at the list of work orders that they need to dispatch to the different teams? What if it actually recommended which mechanic or technician would be the right person for that based on their previous experience with this type of equipment, maybe this type of work or this type of problem? What if it could recommend that opportunity for them? Or what about sales reps? What if their quote emails, sales reps sends quotes all day, every day. What if it actually took information from the quote, took information about the customer, and drafted a personalized email that would help them increase their close rate and drive more revenue for your business? What if your overbooked fleet was flagged well in advance so that you could repair it, return one from another customer, or re-rent it before it's needed next? What if it did that well before it's the morning of a rental and you realize you need to scramble for that? And today, a lot of people are doing that, but it's a very human process, a very manual process. What if damage was auto-detected on the equipment as it's being inspected? Either a return inspection or on a piece of equipment going out, it was able to highlight what was damaged and give you that focus of, oh, hey, this customer, when this skid steer went out, windshield's fine. It came back, the windshield's cracked. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, we'd like you to pay for that because otherwise it's just a cost that hits your business with no new revenue. So with all of these crazy ideas in mind, and there's many, many more, of course, these are just some of the ways where AI can impact the rental industry. How some companies are looking at AI is that, so this is Mark Benioff, he's the founder CEO of Salesforce, and at one of their sessions in 2023 said that AI is going to change everything. Everything's going to shift. He talks about artificial general intelligence. That's basically the ability to make decisions without really being instructed. And he believes it's going to replace all the salespeople. Now, that's not our view. That's not my view. Because I think there's things that AI will do well, but I also think that there's things that humans do really well. So when we're thinking about how we apply artificial intelligence, we have a very specific view of where it's going to go and how it's going to be able to help improve your operation. So first off, we want to start with what are the customer challenges? So kind of the examples I gave before are all real problems that rental companies face in some way, shape, or form. And we believe that there's an opportunity to use artificial intelligence to solve those problems and allow humans to do what they do best. They're great at communicating, they're great at connecting, they're great at relationships, they're great at solving complex problems where the information is not available in a digital form. And that's where we think that there's going to be lots of opportunities. So start with what the customer challenges are, and then we're going to see, what are some ways that we can leverage existing technologies, develop our own technology, and really create those solutions for you as our customers and for the equipment rental industry as a whole. So start small, learn, say, okay, did this work? Did this not work? How can we do better? How can we improve this technology? And then the underlining is we believe AI is a tool that your team is going to use and they're going to utilize, and it's going to make them more effective. And we're going to turn your team from just regular people into superheroes. Superman came from a far off galaxy and had superpowers from birth. Batman was technology enabled. And we think there's more of a Batman opportunity here where we can give you the best technology, we can give you the best power, and we can allow you to make the best decisions and be as effective as possible. So this was a study that was done by the Boston Consulting Group. And in their study, they saw that the consultants that were leveraging AI, and this was just earlier this year, right? There's some of this technology is still very fresh and is still very new. And they found that they were actually able to accomplish 12% more tasks on average, 25% faster, and 40% higher quality than those that weren't using AI. And later in the presentation, we're going to talk about how everybody can use AI today, regardless of the products that you're currently using. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about some potential future pieces. The lawyers love the disclaimer slides. We're not guaranteeing that any of these things will become available immediately, but these are things that we're looking at. These are some opportunities that we believe are going to be available. So here's the same ideas we had. And the good news is that some of these pieces are already out there and as part of the Textile platform. So this is the mobile view of the work order application. So your service techs are using this every day. And when they go to add parts, we can actually look at the historical service for that, either that CAT class or that specific make model of product, and say, hey, when you're servicing this type of equipment, you normally use these types of parts. So just takes the information that the technician is going to need and makes it one step closer to them at the time of making the decision. Okay, I need an oil filter. Which oil filter was it again? They open up here and they're able to see, okay, what's the most recently used oil filter for this piece of equipment? Okay, yeah, all right, that's the one. And they were able to speed up that decision process for themselves. So this is one that's already out there. This is one that we're working on right now. So leveraging the power of artificial intelligence to scan pictures from a rental return or for a pickup delivery ticket and say, okay, like I said in the example before, this skid steer went out with a perfectly good windshield and came back with a cracked one. And the AI would be able to automatically detect that and then alert the branch manager and says, hey, this rental just came back with a damage. It wasn't damaged before. You should talk to them about covering those costs. So this is another one that we've been working on for a while, and we've been training with over 1 million images from the rental industry already. This is another one. So just in the second year, we're going to launch a video, and it's going to show you one of our early looks for an equipment salesperson who's selling a piece of equipment, and it's going to show you what it looks like when you're leveraging AI to automatically draft that email to the customer. So it uses things like information about the piece of equipment, about the customer, about their history, and about the quote themselves to actually draft a smart email for them. So we're just going to take a look at it here. There is no audio, so don't be alarmed. I'll be back in just a second. All right, awesome. So as the video kind of showed you, that's what the smart drafting can look like. It still gives much in the vein of like empowering humans, giving them superpowers. It created that very detailed email in 25 seconds as the video showed. And then the salesperson can add their own flair. They can add their own personalization and tweak it to the needs of the customer, based on things that they heard through the sales conversation. And in the future, we'll be able to incorporate even more information into it as well. But that's just one way that you're able to leverage that right in the workflows that you're doing every day. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to talk about how you can start using AI today. So we talked about the future with the rental industry. We talked about some present pieces that I showed off that we're working on and are becoming available shortly. In different ways. And then also I'm going to talk about how you can start using AI today. So here's some different organizational units or departments for your business and how you're able to start leveraging AI for them today. So first one, customer service. Intercom is a company that can provide a chatbot, frequently asked questions based on historical questions. ChatGPT is great for training new hires. You can put in your employee guide and have it ask them questions in a role play. On the marketing side, you can use ChatGPT for content writing, brainstorming new ideas. Those on the marketing side that use Canva or Photoshop, they've brought some AI features like being able to take an image and then instead of having to draw and circle and say, okay, remove this curb from this picture, you actually just be able to type remove yellow curb. And it'll provide you two examples of what it looks like when it did that, and you can choose which one is best for you. Hootsuite is a social media tool, and they can actually monitor in real time what customers are saying about you. How are they feeling about you? They can pull in information from your CRM and really understand all the communications. Are customers happy or they're not happy? Do you want to touch base with some big customers if they seem to be turning the tides a little bit, maybe not as active? And this is a way that you can be more proactive. So instead of getting a call one day from that customer and saying, okay, we're no longer doing business with you, by using some of these tools for your team, you actually will understand a little bit earlier and repair that relationship before it gets beyond the point of no return. The accounts receivable team, just like the example we gave with smart drafting an email for your sales quote, it would also be able to be used for those overdue invoices and be able to generate that and say, hey, this is the invoice, this is the details of it, and it can do that all with 2 clicks, which is really, really cool. One other thing I was playing with was this was a chart that was generated by ChatGPT. All I did was give it an Excel sheet of my sales data, and I asked it, chart my sales by division for the top 10 divisions. Label should be sales by division, and I want the axis to be shown in thousands. So this took me 30 seconds, and it interpreted a 55,000 line Excel sheet and generated the information for me in real time. So you'll also be able to do things like ask questions, who is my best sales rep? Which equipment is my top performing? And it'll actually be able to read the data and then provide information back to you on how it's performing. There's even more use cases for the entire team. So this is a little bit more tool specific here. So ChatGPT, we've talked about a couple of use cases already. It's also really good at being able to proofread presentations. One of my team members likes to put his email draft into it and say, hey, what do you think I'm trying to say? So AI will read it, it will interpret it, and it'll feed back to you what you were trying to say. And if it's right, great, it was understandable, it was what you were trying to say. And if it's a little bit off, you'd be like, okay, well, can you suggest some revisions to make sure I make this point? And it'll actually rewrite the email for you, which is pretty cool. It can also adjust tone, be like, rewrite the email, but make it a little bit more stern because, this is the 3rd email we're sending this customer who's got this overdue invoice, and we definitely want to get paid. Really good for research or brainstorming, where it'll be able to say, you'll be able to ask for like suggestions for, marketing campaigns or how you can reach new customers, stuff like that. Grain is a really cool tool that I've started using for virtual meetings where it can actually record the meeting, summarize the notes, call out any action items and who was assigned those action items, and then send that as an email afterwards as a follow-up. So it allows me to be more effective in the meeting because I don't have to worry about taking notes, and I get those details afterwards as well. Dolly is a image generator. You can do this through Bing. You can do this through ChatGPT. You may have noticed that there's lots of images being used in the presentation, including the one on the screen here. All of these were generated based on my requesting text. So for this one, I asked for an equipment saleswoman to have her mind blown because of all the cool AI technology. And this is what it gave me. First try, took me 30 seconds. I was able to put it into the presentation here to keep things a little bit more interesting that way. Perplexity AI, it's like a search engine, it's like Google. It's a lot more conversational. It helps you get to the real specifics of what you're looking for a lot faster. So I recommend checking out that. Bing, also a search engine, but allows you to talk to a web page, be like, hey, can you summarize this article? What are the key points from this? And instead of spending 7 minutes reading an article, it gives you the summary in 20 seconds. Windows 11 and some of the Microsoft Office suite is also leveraging AI to allow you to get insights from documents as you're going through them as well. All right, I do want to touch on a couple best practices for AI. So number one is experiment. You will be learning what's working and what's not. You'll be able to see things that are more effective or less effective. And as you go through, you'll be able to learn, hey, this prompt created a really great result for me. I want to save that. So what I'd recommend is actually creating what's called a prompt library. It can be a Microsoft Office doc or Google Sheets or really any sort of text document, and say, hey, for this use case, this prompt was really effective. And as you get ones that are effective, I'm sure there's other people in your company that are going to be doing similar things to you. So I'd recommend sharing that with them, getting them to add theirs. And then over time, you'll be able to get a big list of things that are very effective for you and your team. You can also search prompt library for X industry. And there's more and more of these websites popping up where they're kind of crowdsourcing lots of people who are having lots of success with AI and being able to give you better outcomes that way. A big piece for AI is context is super important. So one thing I like to do is you can actually ask AI to encompass a persona. So, you are a heavy equipment dispatcher, and you need to have a serious talk with, one of your drivers because their on-time performance is really poor. Please write me an email draft to, make sure that they understand that it's serious, but not make them worried. We still want to work together. This isn't going to be ending in their, being fired. And it really helps you draft it that way. But you can say, hey, be this person and do this output. And it'll give you some really good results that way, as opposed to just say, write an email to discipline a driver. It gives you a lot better results when you're more specific and you provide more details. Also, super important, and is definitely something to be keeping in mind, is data security. So when you upload files to services, make sure that they are compliant with your data security and confidentiality needs. Different geographies have different legislation around what personal identifiable information you're able to upload and how you control that. So do make sure that the tool is aligned with your needs and read their policies and procedures that way. Specifically here on ChatGPT, as it is the biggest one, there is 2 ways where you can use it and not have to worry about your information ending up in the data training library for it. Either use their enterprise license, which keeps all of your information into one bucket that nobody else will ever see. Or you can there's an option under your personalization to say opt out of conversation history. And what this does is it means it automatically delete it after you use it. Obviously, you can't go back and reuse those exact results. That's where the prompt library comes in, but it will make sure that your information doesn't end up in the public domain. The other big thing that I always want to stress, there's a term in AI research called hallucinations. And normally it's talking about the text. So like, you're a doctor, give me, some possible outcomes for these symptoms. And sometimes it'll say stuff that does not make sense. So even in the ChatGPT bottom row, it does recommend checking the information. I generated both of these images with DALL-E. And at first glance, they're both fine, whatever. But then once you start looking, there's actually like 3 pretty major issues with the one on the right. So, this one looks great. I asked for a picture of a skid steer with a flat tire. The one on the left looks like a skid steer. We're all good. The one on the right looks crazy because the bucket's facing the wrong way. The skid steer only has 2 wheels, not 4. So it would never really be able to lift up. And I'm not sure what that is in the background. It looks like a hybrid of a skid steer with some sort of dump trailer. Maybe we'll see that in the future. But I'm not sure exactly how that would be useful on the job site at this point. So kind of the takeaway here is it is not perfect today. That's another reason why I believe that human in the loop is the best way to be approaching it, because it'll actually allow humans to make decisions based on recommendations from it, so you can double check your work that way. So just to recap here, recent AI breakthroughs are going to change our daily lives. We are going to see more examples of things that can be supported and augmented, and how we can be more effective and efficient in our daily life. We also, equipment rental is going to be changed by these. So your customers will be using AI to do more research. Your team will be using it to be more effective, and it'll give you more superpowers if you choose to let it. AI is going to continue to appear in more and more products. I heard in Microsoft Office, Clippy, which was a popular help thing from the early 2000s, is going to be coming back with AI, and you'll be able to use Microsoft Office tools to be able to be more effective that way. So you're going to see it popping up everywhere you are. And then the fourth takeaway here is you can start using AI today. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be complicated. You're able to jump in right away. And then, as always, when it comes to technology, keep security and privacy top of mind. So I only had 30 minutes for this webinar. There's so much more I want to show you and teach you about AI and tools and how to help. But we will be sending some follow-up information and guides. We're currently putting it together right now, but I'll be giving you some step-by-step guides. I'll show you what ChatGPT actually looks like, how to use it, some more examples, and get you started on your AI journey. So with that, thank you very much for the questions that have come in. I still see more questions coming in all the time. So would love to hear more of your questions. If you want to connect, that's my LinkedIn. Would love to go deeper, and I love talking technology and rental all day. So, and I thought this picture was too good not to use. So, all right, Michael is going to be moderating our Q&A, and I will pass it over to you to toss some questions my way.
All right, thank you, Adam. That was an outstanding presentation. Obviously, we could go on a long time with some of these conversations. One
Absolutely.
question I noticed here, it's more of a comment, but I would really love to hear your comment about it. And this is from an individual who's been around the industry since the 1980s. So he's seen a lot of changes. At that time, they were just pagers. There weren't even cell phones. And he says that AI is such an important invention that it's ultimately going to be bigger, more impactful than the cell phone. I wonder if you have any comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. When they talk about technology, there's kind of been four major eras: computing, mobile, and the internet. And now we're going to like cloud computing, and now we're into AI. And I think the reason it's going to be so much more impactful is because we are so much more technology enabled. So instead of like not everybody had a pager, but then more people had cell phones. Now that everybody has cell phones, AI is going to be popping up in many things that we do all day, every day. So I totally agree. It's going to be a big opportunity, and the companies who embrace it are going to get a lot more leverage. And, you know, we've done previous webinars about talent scarcity and how we need to get people to be more effective and efficient. So it's definitely going to be able to help with that.
Adam, what steps can rental companies take to train and upskill their workforce to be able to work effectively with AI-powered systems?
Yeah, I would say there's two parts to that. One is definitely experiment, definitely see what's out there, spend a little bit of time looking for ways to improve their daily life, their daily operations. So looking for those types of things. And then for any of the tools that you have that do offer artificial intelligence built in, or provide content around how to use it, how to be more effective, is definitely look for those resources. So whether the webinars like this, or they may provide like written documentation, but definitely take a look for it. Ask the support team, hey, is there any opportunities where we can learn more, resources, stuff like that? Because there are tools you're already using. So how you can get the most out of them is definitely something you want to be doing.
Okay. I guess we have time for one more question here, and something that a person asked this, and I think it's something you always hear when people talk about AI, and that it's going to take over our jobs and they won't need us anymore. So I wonder if you have any comments on that. I know you did touch on it.
Yeah, I would say it's still similar. I'm not personally worried it's going to eliminate my job or our jobs or our industry. I think it's going to enable us to be more effective and efficient. And like I touched on before, when I talk to rental companies, it's a common issue that, hey, I don't have enough drivers. I don't have enough technicians. Artificial intelligence could come to self-driving in the future. Maybe that could help us get our fleet out and get our fleet back. It'll empower our technicians to be more efficient with mobile tools where they can see what the previous history is, and they'll be able to do, instead of doing 7 work orders a day, they're doing 8 work orders a day. And you've got, a team of 10 of them. That adds up a lot over a period of a day, a week, month, a year. So I think if your only job was to just process data, that's something AI is going to do very well. If it's something where there's a lot more human connection and stuff like that, then I think your life will just be made better, and you'll be able to just do more with the same amount of time, help more customers, and help your business grow more.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time. I want to remind the audience that this presentation will be posted on RER's website sometime within the next week. You'll be notified by email when it's available, and so you have a chance to see it again. And if you were inspired by the presentation, you'll be able to tell your friends and colleagues to check it out. So we will let you know when it's up and available. If we didn't get to your question, we will also, Adam will have a list of these questions, and he'll be able to get back to you. So that includes the presentation. On behalf of RER, I want to thank Texada for sponsoring this event, and Adam for presenting this outstanding information, and of course all of you for participating and joining. If you weren't listening, we couldn't have done it. So thank you very much. So I want to wish you all a great day, and thanks very much again.
All right. Thanks, everyone.